Hey Blender Paint family, got an update on the add-on I've been working on. I got something with the panel that's pretty cool, and I'm going to go ahead and do some setup really fast to get this set up for you. I'm going to talk through this really fast first. The main canvas starts here with loading canvas. It just uses the import image to plane. I haven't written my own version yet, but I'm wanting to. The goal there is to be able to first commit an image, a generated image into memory, and then build the canvas from there. That would be my ideal. But for right now, we're using this. Once we've got that, we bring in the camera view paint. We have the reload and save increment here. Those are still work in progress. I've got the reload working, save image and save increment, and it's not really that great. Nested inside the image state tools, we have the canvas controls, where we have flip X and flip Y, and then the degrees. And because those weren't working in camera, we now have a camera view paint influence and a push button to send the value to the camera, and then a reset rotation. I'll work on that. I'll show you that here in a little bit. We already talked about the crop, how that works, but I'll do a little quick demo on that. Then we have Mad Scientist, so I'm going to close that back up. We'll talk about that actually very quickly. Sculpt 2D, this is the copy and erased in liquid sculpt. It's a side step. It's not really the main purpose of the add-on. Guide controls, this is for using an empty to move the pivot point in your canvas around, and then being able to use X, Y, and Z in your painting. Now I've got to actually paint that, turn that off. Mask controls. Looks pretty heavy, but actually all these are is just aligning mask objects. If you've got multiples, that may or may not be actually too much of a big deal later. I wanted to do things before that I'm not really doing too much of now. This map and apply material to mask. I've got a button here to copy the canvas. Then you project or reproject the mask to match the canvas so that you can then use it to paint just the mask. And then I've got a holdout material that's designed for working with blocking out in camera with cycles. We have options for drawing different curve objects. This one is the draw curve that's in your tools. This one is just this plain vector that you can take time to work out. This one's a basic square and a basic circle. Then you add the mask object. Subtract and join masks is for doing booleans with the mask objects. It's pretty fun. We'll cover that after a while. Maybe a separate video. And then face mask groups. This is just pretty much just a bastardization of the vertex groups. This FMG Plus on a model that has multiple islands, that will bring in the connected islands in as automatic vertex groups or face masking groups, so that you can work with them in the paint scene. And this one, just a tiny little thing, is a brush scene, a sculpt scene, and then some other things going on with sculpt. They're just extras from before, and I may split them out into their own separate add-on. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this main scene, and what I want to do is bring in a texture that's going to be applicable to the canvas, to the object I've been carrying around. So right off the bat, I'm going to bring in that image, main texture, set that to shadeless, import it as a plane, and then press camera view to paint. And what happens there is the camera is now invisible and the canvas is visible. Those two items are inside a collection called Canvas View, and that comes in later. But I'm going to now show the object that's applicable to this. I'm going to then make sure I've got it selected. Oops, I think I moved it. Select it, and I'm going to go to shading to make sure that I've loaded that image up. So now we have that on the outside of the object. And here we're going to go to our mad scientist. Okay, so the head right now is in this collection. I want to get the UV overlay. I'm not sure if this is ready yet. Okay, it did. It put the object into an object view. Now I can press UV to camera and it'll put the UV overlay onto the camera. So now we can actually start using this 3D view, 2D view buttons. Go back to 2D view and you'll see the UVs are superimposed over the texture. If I press the camera, go to background, you'll see where we can manipulate that. We can turn that down a little bit or bring it full up. Now that comes in handy when we're working with the masks. So I'm going to right click my canvas and I'm going to bring up my mask and I'm going to just play with something that has to do with the back of the unit. So I'm going to, instead of drawing a curve and doing all that, I'm just going to bring in a square, add it, I'm going to grab it and I'm going to try and line it up to where I want to project it. So on the back of his little head, I'm going to copy the canvas and then I'm going to project it and you'll see now it's painted there. I'm going to bring up my tools and pick a color, something like maybe safety orange. We're just going to paint it in. And now I want to see what effect it has. I'm going to press my 3D view and there you go. Now you see that we have projected this onto the map and it's not too bad. We can do the same thing again to other parts of the unit. So if I go to object mode, whoops, sorry. This one needs to go back to paint. This one can go to object. Then I'm going to grab it and put it on the front piece, which I think is right there. I'm going to have to center it, so I'm going to have to recenter it so I can spin it. Now, project it twice, paint it, and then I'm going to go back to 3D view. And I know it's no big deal, but for me it's kind of a game changer in that the I like the ability to be able to mask in on the 2D as well as stencil in where I want to on the 3D. As if we were working with the standard setup here, there's not really a place to do shapes and stuff without using the stencil. Well, you can use the stencil, but the problem is that you are not able to work with the UVs and see where they lie. You have to. No, there's no layers in here. There's none. So nice thing about working in the 3D view, like we are, is that we can go back and forth like this. As far as the regular stuff of the canvas controls, like we were talking about, if I flip X and Y, that's fine. It flips okay. But when we do the rotations, you can see up here that you can see the rotations happen in world space, but not in the camera. So what I've done is made a slider. I can go to 0, push the value, and now we can see that it's rotating separate from the camera. So we can rotate back and forth, and that's mainly for the ability to use a stroke with the way your arm naturally moves with your hand and the tablet. You can reset the rotation, and you can send it back if you want, so that it's locked back in. So like now, it's just the world moving, but the camera is a child of the canvas, and it's back to normal. And that's the way it is. It's just a child of constraint. Also, say if we go like this, then you can see this going on. So you can see it's actually moving, but the camera's moving too. And then now it's moving like that. It's actually funny because it's still rolling that way. That's funny. But we're back in camera. So say I want to work with different islands there. We're going to get rid of this, and we're going to go to just the object we had. So I'm actually going to delete the collection there and the mask and all that. So we're just going to go with this. So say I want to have limitations in Paint. We can use the face masking and do this. And you can select the whole connected mesh with pressing L, and that's good. But there may be times where you want to work on just a part of this. So first thing I do is press this, and it gets all of them because it selected all of them. And now I have the ability to modify. So they're not labeled to where I know what they are, but I can then still select that, discover what that is. And I can go back and label if I want to. But the thing is, the limitation there is, or it's just not happening inside. It's not happening inside of edit mode and back, that it's actually just here in texture paint mode. The kicker is I may want my own new one selected basically on this. Say I want this only. I want that as a vertex group on its own. I can press plus, new front, set it, which is, I'm using the word set instead of assign, and then there I can use that as a I can paint that, and then later I can exclude that from something else. So if I've got all of this and then I want to unset that, sorry, deselect. Now I have to set it again because I unset it. Press the wrong one, set that. Okay, so link that, deselect this new front. Unfortunately, because of the vertices, you still got to go back in and grab these. So we've got that, and now different color. So that happened inside texture paint and not in edit mode. Whereas going to edit mode, I might set up a vertex setup that way, which I can still do that. Hit plus and set it, and it comes back, gives me an error because I'm not in texture paint mode. Okay, so this is where we're at right now, where I am experimenting with everything. And like I said, the Mad Painter Ops, all of this is a matter of trying to get functionality that I want in texture paint that I can't get in your regular 2D editor. Because if I go to the image editor, this is it. This is all I've got. We got some things going on, not much. You got some tools, and you got some basic image information and just the basic brushing. That's it. There's no masking here. I don't have the ability to use even the built-in mask tool correctly. The mask tool doesn't work here. So, because it's a separate. Anyway, that's the reason behind everything I'm doing with the regular 3D viewport painting. And I'll cover some of the other tools in another video. This one's getting a little long. Talk to you guys later. Go paint something. Have fun. Bye.